Yeah, you can just friend me and then spectate through that. Okay, so this is League F. This determines promotion. So let's see. Um, if Cyrus gets 4.5 or more, they get promotion. Um, and for Magi, it's non-demotion if they lose 6, and guarantee non-promotion with 4 or less. So Cyrus needs to win 4.5. Magi needs to win 4.
Alrighty. You said for Magi that was for non-demotion?
For it says Magi will guarantee non-demotion with 6 and guarantee non-promotion with 4 or less. I'm not sure how to interpret that sentence.
Wait. So if they win all 6, they're guaranteed not to demote. But if they win fewer than 4, they can't demote.
Yes.
So winning 4 for Magi keeps them in the running for promotion.
Okay, I got it. Cool. So let's take a look at this board. We saw Marauder open versus Temple open.
I like one of those better.
Yeah.
I really like the look of this board. It's got a lot of fun cards, cards that I'd consider fun.
Very festive cards.
Because I'm pretty much an ape, right? And I really like cards like Festival and Governor and stuff that allows you to, really sling billions of cards at first. So we'll see if the game goes in that direction.
I think it's a pretty strong kingdom. You've got good trash and draw actions, buy, etc. You definitely build a big engine here.
Yeah. Governor looks like the central thing to play around because it's Governor, and it's usually the most efficient source of payload on boards like these. Marauder seems like a pretty big mistake to me. I also don't particularly like Engineer here.
I don't like Engineer.
Say again?
I don't really like Engineer in general, just as a card. It doesn't appeal to me, but I'm low rank, so what do I know?
I think Engineer seems alright. I really like the idea of getting lots of Ironmongers. That's just like a great card.
Mm-hmm.
You can have too many Ironmongers. The big downside of opening Engineer is you really unlikely to hit 5. It also means, actually, in this case, it meant they didn't open with a Trasher. But I guess you could go Temple Engineer, that might be okay.
Another line that looks very interesting to me is Capitalism. Any number of Capitalism 1 merchant just looks funny to me.
So
Capitalism, Ruin, or Abandoned Mine. That's the third Canada Marauder here.
So I think capitalism's pretty bad here. And I think the main reason for that is Festival and Ironmonger are already non-terminal, and I don't think you want to play with a big wine merchant stack here.
I could definitely see a build where Capitalism looks good. I think a nice interaction is if you were to get most of the Ironmongers, then Capitalism is good. Not necessarily because it lets you play them in the buy phase, but because it means every time an Ironmonger hits another Ironmonger, you're getting money off of it.
That is true.
I don't know. I said fun, not good. That's how I played him in there. I just had fun and I played bad. All right, let's see. He goes for the Governor. Let's see what he goes for here. Ooh, he draws the cards.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want gold this early. The other option would have been to remodel a silver to like a Governor or a Lost City or something like that. But it seems...
Yeah. I think it's helpful to talk about for a second why Marauder seems pretty weak. In general, I think Marauder is not super strong. It does junk your deck. Junking on the face of it is often this strong effect. But it has very little upside. Spoils aren't that good. Spoils might look like a gold, but it's actually even worse than gold is, because you first have to draw the Marauder to play the Marauder, and then you have to draw the spoils to play the spoils to get one $3 effect. So on average, it's like $1.50 per time you're drawing a card. Which is not amazing. It's also delayed because you get the spoils later in the shuffle, so it doesn't help ramp up your deck very fast. So Marauder is like pretty low in terms of its positive effect. It can be worth it if junking is strong. But here, junking is not particularly strong because you've got good draw and trashing. So it's very easy to get rid of those ruins again.
Temple's exceptionally good at getting rid of ruins.
Absolutely. Obviously, since I'm a bad player, I like to look at all the memes. You think we'll see a fleet meme? Yeah.
Fleet seems good enough to me. I mean,
Fleet seems good because this game's likely to end on big governor turns that take 5 provinces at a time. So getting the ability to get an extra turn in to get some duchies and do other stuff like that seems really valuable. If I had to pick one of the projects here, I'd take fleet over capitalism.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, fleet is the better option, probably. Now that I really think about it, you can't go wrong with fleet. You know, if you just sink 5 points into it.
So here they drew again. I don't think I would have drawn with the second one because you had you had another terminal down there, and I do really want to play this temple. Ironmonger is very unlikely to be a village there. I think I probably would gain a gold there. The other option is to flip a silver into a 5.
I think the argument for drawing is just that those cards on the bottom mostly sucked a lot. And so it's not so much that you do want them in your hand, so much as maybe you just don't want them on top of your deck. I'm not sure that makes it worth it or not, but that seems like probably the primary consideration.
That's fair.
Well, come on, you gotta draw more cards, right? I mean, come on. Wait, how do you say your name? Is it kilohertz or KHZ?
You can say either one, but it's kilohertz.
Come on, kilohertz. You gotta play as many cards per minute.
Look, draw is draw. Draw is good. We love draw. Governor isn't awesome. I've really started to enjoy governor kingdoms where the primary thing you do isn't just use governors to gain and remodel gold, but you get to use it as a draw card with some other payload. I think those are really fun.
Yeah, that's what I like doing. Is using governors just to draw. I mean, granted, I lose a lot when I do that because it gives everybody cards.
You can't use it as your primary draw, but it can be a serious boost to your draw on a mega turn where you don't really care if you're giving your opponent cards because you're about to play Exodia.
I really did not like Sir UFC's decision there to play the Wine Merchant. Trashing 3 cards of the Temple just sounds so much better.
I could not agree more.
The heck? They're actually going for capitalism? And he
Sure.
Well, so now the Wine Merchant is non-terminal, so you can play the Temple and still play the Wine Merchant. So it makes sense to me. I think I would have trashed a copper, though.
Goes for the extra draws, plays the settler base, picks up the quarry.
Like, you don't need 14 versus 13. Trash that copper.
Oh, they can't trash a copper. How are they trashing copper?
Didn't Temple trash estate, ruin village, and survivors? Doesn't Temple? Oh, it's 1-3. Wow, I don't know Temple that well. I thought it was 1-4.
To answer DZ, Magyi I bought capitalism as well. That's more confusing. I don't know how capitalism helps them.
Okay, so they are going for a Wine Merchant stack. Yeah. So I think Wine Merchant stack would get demolished by the sort of simpler Governor deck here. But you definitely want some Wine Merchants because Governor decks desperately need plus buy to be able to build.
2 Wine Merchants just looks a bit greedy to me.
Yeah.
You don't have enough draw for that.
Almost as greedy as the Wine Merchant.
I don't know if he's greedy. He seems jolly.
Important to me in this Governor game is you can definitely gain and play things here. So, for example, Governor to remodel a silver into a Wine Merchant and draw that and play it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if anything, I would definitely err on the side of having more draw than necessary rather than less, because you can make use of that additional draw via gain and play. And so, I think the 2 Wine Merchants is too much. If you got like 2 Governors, you could probably gain and play at least 1 more Wine Merchant mid-turn, and you'd have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. Something like Lost City feels a lot more solid in terms of adding draw and also helping you with some of your terminal problems. Okay, that temple is terrible. Yeah, so 3 points don't matter here because this game's going to get decided by who takes like 5 provinces at once. The 3 points are meaningless. And you don't want that stop card.
Let's see what kind of people gets added to the fire here. I'd love to see this. Make my day.
Yeah.
Rather very early morning. I'm on the East Coast. It's 5 a.m.
Me too. This is probably...
I'm feeling that the direction Magi's deck has gone. here at all. Double Marauder just kind of seems useless, and they're not really investing in Governor to a sufficient degree.
Yeah. Is there any way to prince here, like printing an Ironmonger?
There was a turn where I thought Sir USC could have considered it, which was the turn where they played the Wine Merchant and they could have played the Temple. They would have had 8 money there, and I mean I think it'd be pretty defensible to pick up a Prince and try to Prince your Ironmonger. I wouldn't hate that at least. I'm not sure it's better than just buying like another Governor or something there, but that would have been the turn where I would have thought about it. The other way you could potentially do this would be to gain and play a Prince in the same turn. Gold can be remodeled not just into province but to Prince here. And so maybe if you're overdrawing, you like remodel the gold into a Prince to set it up on the same turn.
9 and 2 buys. I'd say there's a lot of open.
Well, it's really 7 and 2 buys because he needs to save 2 for the Wine Merchants.
You make a fair point. So 7 and 2 buys. There's still a lot of open avenues for this, though, as I can see.
I'm probably taking a Lost City and then nothing else.
Engineer. For me, the card, given that they now both have cabinets, the thing I really want right now is an engineer to just gain a lot of Ironmongers. I think Ironmonger has suddenly become a much better card if you're already committed to the capitalism route.
Here, can you buy an engineer, pay the debt off, and buy a second engineer and only pay a bit of the debt off so you have 2 left?
Yeah, so the way I would buy like a 5 and an engineer, maybe Governor, Lost City, and engineer. And the way that works is what you'll need to do is when it prompts you to pay the debt, you only pay off 2 of the debt and you leave yourself in 2 debt.
Yep.
And then you have 2 money unspent, and then you can still discard the languages.
Gotcha.
I actually learned this the hard way in quarterfinals of the 2019 Dominion Championships. I lost the first game to Mercury 444F because I messed up on the Fortune debt payoff and accidentally paid off all the debt, causing my Wine Merchant to get stuck out of play. That left me 1 game too short to win. And now I haven't forgotten it ever since.
Interesting. He's going. I mean, then again, that's justifiable. I can see why we want tons of draws here just to get a mega doom turn.
Well, I mean, his only draw is Governor. What's he gonna do with Governor besides draw? I mean, you could add golds, but you need. Those are just gonna be stop cards. You can't spend the money right now.
Here I assemble remodeling it to silver.
Yep, you can remodel silvers.
Hey, here's just a good example of a hand where if he had slightly more draw, this would be a much better position because you could gain a Wine Merchant, for example, off that silver and then draw back to it.
Yep. It's almost at gain and play. He's like 1 Governor short. 1 more Governor or a Lost City, and they will be able to gain and play stuff.
I'm really anticipating this buy turn. I love huge buy turns. Like, this is going to be.
Oh, then you're gonna like watching Good Dominion.
Oh yeah, I love big buy turns, and so I love big dominion, but I also hate slow turns. So I guess it balances itself out.
Yeah, there's a lot of thinking through your buys at high level, but there's also a lot of giant turns where you have 40 money and 18 buys.
Well, it's just the anticipation. Just I'm drooling at the thought of what possible buy with all this stuff.
I think the capitalism thing is working out pretty all right for Sir USC. Although I must say I'm a little bit surprised. If I would have bought capitalism, I would have thought the main reasons for the Ironmonger stuff more so than the
Wine Merchant.
stuff. I mean, if I got capitalism, I certainly would also be playing with Wine Merchants. But I would think the main thing that would motivate me to get it was the Ironmongers. It's not only Ironmonger and Ironmonger, but also Ironmonger dealing Wine Merchant, and they'll also make you money. And so in deck with a bunch of both of those Ironmongers are supposed to go to be like peddlers.
Seems a bit of a misplay to me, now that we know later in the game that Magyi took capitalism. I'm not really sure that's giving him the explosive dividends that it's giving Sir USC. So frankly, it just seems like he just set an entire duchy on fire. Not that he buy it.
I'm not sure what Magi is playing with the capitalism is. I mean, I worry that it might have been just motivated by like my opponent got it in line with 2. And it's not doing similar amounts for their deck.
This better be good. Whatever he's got in mind. Otherwise,
Trash is a silver. I kind of want my silvers because I'd like to remodel them with my governors.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, not that I want silvers to stay in my deck, but $3 cards are like nice targets for governor remodeling.
all right, 19 and 21. Show us what you got, Stern USC.
3 5s and an engineer, maybe 3 5s and ironmonger, engineer, and then just pay off no debt, something like that. Maybe just even all governors.
Yeah, just empty the governor stack. Why not?
Well, I wouldn't take all 4 governors.
Yeah, because then your wine merchants get trapped. But you could take 3 governors and an engineer. That sounds perfectly good.
Yeah, well, I meant like all 35 should be governors, not take all the governors. Because you're just one. I mean, you could have, if you didn't trash the silver, taken all the governors. That might have been reasonable as well. But now, given that they only have 21 money, I would think 20 of it.
So many governors here. It's like the United States. It's got 50 governors.
And in fact, there are only 10 of them here.
I can't believe that from
A bunch of capitalistic governors. There's some serious theme going on here.
Dominion plutocracy. Just to check with producers, that isn't too cool, right?
I think we're still good, but we do have a no RSP rule.
I was just thinking about
Maybe
this.
strong palate.
Yeah, that stands for religion, sex, and politics, just for the record.
I jest. I am a little fool.
No, Jester and Fool aren't in this kingdom.
I'm not liking these buys so far. Again, I feel like buying wine merchants just seems so much less good to me than buying governors and then gaining wine merchants.
I also don't think you need this many buys, or this many stop cards.
Surely this last one's got to be a governor.
Prince pile is still untouched. Buy a gold? No,
Usually don't even.
Do not even suggest that. Get this man out of here.
DC's just trying to push my buttons right now. I'm not taking the bait.
DZ versus J Nails, a rivalry for the ages.
Oh, he buys Fleet. Oh, so we are going to get some Fleet memes.
Yeah, they bought Fleet. I don't think Fleet's a meme here. I think it's a perfectly good card. I wouldn't buy it so early, but Fleet is a card I do want.
Fleet is an excellent way to protect against pile-outs, but I'm not seeing how Magyi piles out this turn.
Yeah.
I only see one pile low enough for them to reasonably upkeep.
Okay, so they are really liking the wine merchants.
I'm going to be honest, I really don't see how, I'd be very surprised if Magyi pulls this back.
Yeah, Magyi is totally lost, and they're not helping their deck at all by gaining more temples. They never got deck control at all. The Marauders early were not helping with that.
Crazier comebacks have happened. I should know this because I've played with them. And who knows? Maybe Magyi can scoop it. Maybe he can scoop it. Just maybe.
I mean, you can never rule out the No, I'm going to say this game's 100% lost. I was going to say you can never rule out the possibility of, like...
Okay, that's actually...
opening up a pile out by accident. But they've already got Fleet, so they would still win even if that happened.
Hey, Cap. Yeah, wine merchants piled. We're all confused. So if you had, like, one more governor or lost city or something, you could start gaining playing stuff off this engineer. But you can't because you're at a draw. It's also really nice that their one Ironmonger did hit and acted like a village because now they can play engineer and temple.
Yeah, sure. USC's problem is mostly just failing to utilize overdraw.
I don't know. Believe in the heart of the cards.
They might be looking for a pilot here, and I actually wouldn't be super surprised if they have one. Let's see. So they've got 7 buys to work with and 2 gains. They're behind on points though, so I'm going to say probably no pilot this turn. I mean, they could pile, but they couldn't pile for a while. No, actually, no. There's no need to risk it, but they could win this turn if you just emptied Governor and all the ruins.
Yeah, they have Fleet.
but then you risk like getting enough from each turn and throwing a totally one position. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't bother.
Deck has no useless cards, Sir USC.
I don't think I have enough games for Estates and Governor Easy. I count 9 games, and that's 11 cards. I think I'm just going to keep building and aim to pile on the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, your opponent's deck doesn't have anywhere near the gains that you do, so you could take, you know, a governor or two, some lost cities, some festivals. Probably not festivals, you don't need the buy, but some ironmongers.
I do believe.
Exactly, Kaplan, exactly.
Honestly, I think Sir USC is just fine at this point.
Yeah, frankly, I get the incentive. It's a league match. There's promotion on the line. I don't think there's much reason to be thinking as hard as they are right now at this point in the game. You
Just
totally
slam that ironmonger.
Yeah.
All right, here it comes. Show us what you got.
So you got 28 to work with. Could be like 3 governors and a province and a duchy or something. I don't know. I just click a bunch of good looking cards and it'll be fine.
So yeah, they had.
He greens. He greens with provinces.
So this is not what I would have done.
Very interesting. Very. I mean, granted, if you're in the position that Sir USC is, where you can't be defeated at this point, I guess you'd make ridiculous plays like that.
I mean, I think it's fine. It's still winning. It's just not the best way to win. It's not the most guaranteed way to win. It does give your opponent some room to come back.
I would love to see Magyi come from this. That would be, I would genuinely like eat several hats.
I don't want to overstate Magi's chance. The biggest problem with buying 3 provinces is that risks you can't end the game next turn, and then the game goes on 2 or 3 more turns.
I have very low chances of winning, but I'm just saying that I want to come back. It would be very, very poetic.
Yeah, it would be very cool if they came back, but I don't think they are going to. Yeah, it's probably not wrong. It just seems a little strange, but it's probably just fine and just as winning and as everything else is. At this point, it's kind of you just get to choose how you want to win.
So I suppose most of the blame when the game's going wrong rests on their shoulders. I think this game was just a lesson on Marauder's not very good.
Okay, they see
Marauder slowed you down a ton, and then it slowed your opponent down very marginally. And the damage was done to your own deck.
So Sirusc did in fact see the pile out.
That's game. Well, except for fleet, but
you can just pass this turn.
That's game. Sir USC takes it. Well played. GG, well played.
I know the keep wine merchant was wrong. I don't know what that means.
Nor do I.
I think the buy capitalism was wrong. Anyway, that hands it off to Sir USC.
There were player 1 there though, so this could be the time for Magyi. Do we have an agreement on how that's pronounced? Magyi?
No clue. As a commentator, I tend to just go with whatever I find. Oh boy! I just yelled. I hope I didn't wake any of my roommates up. We have Counting House Traveling Fair. Please tell me these players are good enough to see it.
Seer.
Not Seer. Definitely not Seer. No Seers.
No, click Seer for funny memes.
No.
Shut up, dude. No, quiet. Okay, and we even have a baker token, which makes this extra spicy.
Oh, this is so good. So what? Uh-oh. Oh no!
No!
That doesn't feel.
Tragedy!
Oh no.
Oh,
But
no.
it's
Okay,
it's
hey,
all for USC now.
Cyrus might know the combo.
So I think on the 5-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, we're
All
gonna see.
right, we're gonna see some counting house traveling fair.
That's it.
I think just buying the counting house made sense there. It's probably the best. I mean, the alternative could just be like spin 6 top deck helicopters or coppers. I'm not sure if that's better. I would have thought longer about the line that involved just top decking 4 coppers, as opposed to buying counting house. But in any case, if one person buys counting house and the other one does not, the game is over.
Okay,
So
well,
Magyi has demonstrated that he's aware of this, right? But he didn't go for it.
I imagine what happened was they didn't notice until Sirusc bought one, and then they're like, ah, yes, I have made the classic blunder.
I want to believe that Magyi, he actually he sees a different 300 billion IQ strategy. Like I want to believe that like there's going to be some like crazy strategy that like none of us see.
No, it's over. It's already. This is a 1,000%.
anyway, so J Nails, why
Um,
don't you give us a brief intro on how you play Counting House Traveling Fair? Specifically, like, what line are we taking here on, like, non 5-2?
yeah, so just it. Firstly, in general, the way this combo works, because I imagine it's kind of unintuitive, is the goal is to never ever shuffle your deck. What you want to have is exactly 5 cards on top of your deck every turn, and then just to leave every single other card in the discard. Because if most of those cards in the discard are copper, then counting has to pick them all up. And so what you can do is, once you get a certain number of coppers in your deck, you play the counting house, you pick up all the coppers from your discard, and then you buy a traveling fair a few times for +5, and then next turn you top deck counting house and 4 more coppers. Now, because you top decked 5 total cards there, you don't ever actually, like throughout the entire game, ever trigger a new shuffle. Because you've always got 5 new cards on top of your deck that you draw. And then the rest of your deck is in your discard. So you pick up all the coppers again, discard them again, pick them all up again, discard them again. And that scales up incredibly fast. Because you're picking up every copy in your deck every turn, adding at least 4 more per turn. And you're emptying provinces like turn 8, turn 9. It's incredibly strong. So early on, usually what you're just trying to do is get like a counting house in your deck, and then otherwise flood it with coppers until that first time you play counting house, and then you set it up. As far as the opening, I have to think about for a while like the best lines. Baker token effects thing, but in general, the goal is gain a bunch of coppers, hit 5 once, by counting house, and then once you draw your counting house, you're good to go.
Notice the face on the man with the purple hat in Counting House art, where he just looks like a melted pile of wax.
Anyway,
The
so
point is a good point about delay here. One of the bigger tripping points for counting house that can cause you to lose in the mirror match is if you draw your counting house too early in the very first shuffle, there might not be enough coppers in your discard yet for it to do much, in which case you can't top pick a bunch of stuff and set up the combo. But this unit actually has a good way around that, which is delay. If you draw your counting house too early, you can just delay it until the next turn where it'll be stronger, and then buy a bunch of coppers and then put those in your discard.
or onto your top deck, so you don't shuffle.
If you were far enough in your shuffle, I think the center I'm contemplating is if you're at the very top of your shuffle and you're unlikely to shuffle anyway.
Okay, I understand.
But yeah, I think is Magi. I mean, they kind of lost the game turn 1 by not noticing counting house traveling fair. That happens. But I agree that like once you notice it and you see your opponent by counting house, the best thing you can do short of just resign is to at least try to pivot back into that combo.
Yeah, I mean, it happened here that Cyrus got set up, like, pretty much optimally. But it's totally possible at this level to come back from not noticing it and having to buy turn 2 or turn 3 if your opponent doesn't get set up that quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I would definitely be at least trying to come back and just play like a 1-turn deficit. No, maybe your opponent like botches it or something.
I once won a Lurker Hunting Ground games where I missed Lurker on turn 1. Can happen.
there's a humongous threat here that I wonder if either of them will notice, which is Duchess. If you're Sir USC, the thing that you really, really need to do here is top deck 6 cards, not 5. And you don't need to do that every turn. It's one turn you need to top deck an extra card, like put like an estate or something in the bottom, and then top deck your normal 5. But you need to do like a card on top, because if I'm Magi, the thing I'm going to try to do here is gain a Duchess and play the Duchess, and the Duchess forces your opponent to check a card on the top of their deck. If Sir USC, as they currently do, only has exactly 5 cards in their deck, playing a Duchess here from Magi will trigger a shuffle, and then there'd be 0 cards in Sir USC's discard, and they'd all be in the deck. I mean, the counting has to do nothing. They'll totally shut down the combo for like a number of turns.
I mean, not just a number of turns, like, it could be permanently.
Magi have the insight, though, to see it. That is the question.
It's a pretty difficult spot, and the other thing is, right now they don't have gain and play potential, which means that buying Duchess should hopefully be a red, or gaining it would be a big red flag to Cyrus that they need to start top decking an additional card.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I were in Magi's spot right here, my only game would be to play as many Duchesses per turn as I possibly could. Just like hopefully put so many, discard so many cards that they can't top deck enough to avoid it.
I think that honestly might be the only way out for Magi here. I mean, then again, though, Sir USC has had so much time to set up.
I mean, if Sir USC plays it correctly, the Duchess thing is not going to stop them. But it's the sort of thing I would try just in case my opponent didn't know how to play around it. Like, if I were Magi, I would
You gotta play to your outs.
buy Duchess and top deck a Duchess for the next turn. And then the correct way to play around that as Sir USC is just to top deck 6 cards instead of 5. But if they don't know that, then maybe they blunder and I kill their combo.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention this when it happened, but Magi actually clicked Seer, so let me tell you, gamer predictions there.
I mean, if Counting House Traveling Fair weren't around, Seer would be a good card in this deck.
Yeah, Seer's a great card. It's like incredibly strong non-terminal draw.
Yeah, but in the abstract, Seer is probably the strongest card in this kingdom. It's just with Traveling Fair around, Counting House is in fact the strongest card in this particular game.
All right, come on, Magi, you can do it.
I can't.
Believe in yourself. Believe in the heart of the card.
I believe in neither of those things right now.
Alright, time to engineer for 2 Duchesses.
Please do it.
Oh, Cyrus is already top decking extra cards.
Yep.
Somebody please DM Magi on Discord. Tell them to buy those. Don't actually do it. Do not do that. Do not.
If I were Sir USC, I would probably top deck something other than copper as protection. So these bottom 2 cards are coppers that are not being used for payload. They're sitting there as like reserve, like protection against the Duchess. You could top deck like an estate or a duchy or a province or whatever. That's at least points for you. So that all the coppers you're buying are at least being utilized.
I'd hate to see this game being played on paper because I feel like Sir USC's deck would be like a full-length novel.
Yeah, some of the decks that we play online are a nightmare to play on paper.
I actually think this one probably wouldn't be so bad playing in person. Like, mostly it's got like a big stack of copper sitting in your discard that you pick back up every turn. And then you just parse them out 2 at a time to figure out how many coppers you can buy.
Oh, yep. Yeah, that'll happen. Alright, 2-0 for Sir USC. Well played.
Yeah, unfortunately that game was kind of over.
At turn 2.
Alright, well, we see if they learn the lesson, take a little bit more time to analyze this game.
Lurker Hunting Grounds, let's go. Nope. Cool kingdom though. It's got Jay Nails' favorite card in the game in it.
Black market?
I'm just joking that because now your icon's from transmute.
Fair. What are we doing here?
See, I immediately see Skulk on the board.
Skulk is definitely a card. Doesn't really go with minion, but I'm not sure we're building a minion deck here with no thinning, except for trade route.
I want to see a Skulk Scepter deck. Just swinging as many hexes as humanly possible.
I mean,
That doesn't sound strong enough to justify buying a scepter to me. Skulk's not good because of its attack. Skulk is good because like it's a cheap way to get payload into your deck.
and
I
it says
wouldn't
buy
buy
on
a
it.
play it. Like the scepter there is basically being like a skulk that doesn't turn gold.
Yeah.
Minion Scepter. I'm not sure how much of a thing that is.
It lets you play with
Capitalism is a thing.
Minion Scepter is like the worst version of Minion Capitalism. It does let you play with actual money cards, but you need a lot of scepters, a lot of minions. It's a very fragile deck. What do we think of Captain here?
I was thinking Captain. Looks like a key card here.
It's
You
the
can
only
play this
village.
a little bit thin, and then play it as Slay for draw.
See, honestly, Captain is usually good whenever it shows up, in my experience. So.
Yeah, Captain's one of the strongest cards in the game, man. It's good. I mean, there could be literally no targets that were useful here, and it would still be good because of Mule, meaning it's a village.
I'll tell you, fellas, I think cash is the line.
I actually didn't notice Cash was in the kingdom until you just pointed it out.
Nor did I. It's just one of those cards that I meant to knock out.
Yeah. It's not quite bad enough like Transmute, and not quite purple enough like Transmute to make me notice it.
Like, this is just an 8-card kingdom that's been cropped in the left.
Yeah. Steph is nice and put the cards that don't matter all the way on the border so we don't have to look at them.
That sort of makes it the worst card in the kingdom. Not memorable enough. Like Transmute is, sort of it has value as like a minion.
But anyways, I feel like I mostly want captains here, and then scepters on 5 seem fine because scepters can play captains.
Yeah, I do think I want minions though. Like
I do not agree with DZ's prediction. I suspect that I don't know. In 2030, if those cards are still around.
In 2030, there will be 15 minion expansions.
And how about this? In 2030, there'll be another Counting House combo.
Yeah! Ooh, tragic here for... Oh, hang on, wait, no, Sirusc already got his open.
Okay. So you saw Sirusc open Wine Merchant.
Do not like.
I think it's reasonable just on account of it can get you to captain.
You can't scepter it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wine Merchant's not a card that's like going to be super important later on. It just seems like a good way to spice it. I sure hope it's not going to early Enclaves.
Alright, make my day, Sirusc.
Enclave feels like it was designed for like simple big money games.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, this is a nice draw for Sirusc. If this were turn 3 instead of turn 4, it would be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But getting a top deck of captain here.
Ooh, tragedy. He's miserable.
I would not be miserable to get miserable.
Yeah, that's a very low damage hex at this point. Probably the best you can hope for. Other than like Flame's Gift. Which, Flame's Gift, of course, being when Locust trashes a card that you didn't want in the first place.
Yeah, Envy seems totally fine, as does Bad Omens. The top deck 2 coppers one would be totally fine here. Damon actually wouldn't matter because you're going to top deck your captain anyway.
What? You buy Captain here. No question.
It does make the only reason.
You buy Captain, you top deck it with Slay. It's awesome.
Oh, well, that is wrong. We like Wine Merchants in this match.
Yeah.
We really like our Wine Merchants.
pick Captain.
Yeah, because they top decked a wine merchant that they bought instead.
Sorry, I thought you bought Captain. I was so sure that was the move, and that he'd do it.
That does
Yeah,
not seem like a hard choice to me at all.
I do not like that choice that they made at all.
He buys Wine Merchant again here.
I mean, what are you buying if you want to discard the wine merchant? Nothing else looks at all worth buying to me.
He bought 2 skulks.
Wait, did they actually just buy 2 skulls?
Yeah, Sirusc bought 2 skulks.
That is very wrong.
That's phenomenally wrong.
I'm getting very worried here that nobody's actually going to buy Captain. It's
Your fear is justified.
I really just want captains, and then I want scepters if I hit 5, because scepters can be captains.
No! Why are you buying another skull?
Because it comes with a gold.
Buying a skull for a 6 when there's like one of the best 6s in the game. It's making me a little sad.
You're gonna the skull pile. What is happening? Please, call Captain for the love of God.
DZ, can it just be both?
If I can make the claim that Captain is in fact the best 6 in the game. I think Goons is probably its strongest contender.
It's either Captain or Goons, and I could go either way, but I think I'm going to give it to Goons.
Yeah, Goons is still probably better, but
Goons
or Captain is good.
They're both incredible cards.
Captain is stronger in this kingdom than Goons would be.
Agreed. And I think one of the particularly funny things is that Prince could cost 6 and be the, not even remotely as strong as the other 6 cards.
I mean, yeah, Prince would be worse than Captain.
It's worse than Captain, it's worse than Alter, it's worse than Goons. Hey, we bought an RTT.
Goon, in fact, no. Alright, I'm moving in the right direction.
Finally, you can bind captains. I was genuinely worried.
Man, I wish RTT came back. He was a cool guy. Anyone know what happened with him?
I have no idea who RTT is.
RTT was he won. Did he win the world championship the year before Freaky? I think so, right?
I have no idea. He lost to Freaky in 2019.
Yeah, I thought he has a wife and children. His wife was like, "Hey, you should spend time with me." Well, I know he has a family, but I didn't know that meant that he wasn't playing anymore. Well, whatever. Hope he's happy.
Flavor here that he's playing horses as mules, because mules are technically horses. No response for that. Okay.
I mean, are they? I don't actually know. Are they technically horses, or are they not? Because they're mules.
They're part horse, right?
Yeah, but does that make them horses, or does that just make them part horse?
Where it's like if it looks like a horse and it acts like a horse, then it's pretty much reasonable to call it a horse. But there's probably a scientific answer out there that proves me wrong.
I would think people who are really into horses probably have these classifications worked out, and I don't particularly want to hear that.
Because that sounds like they're a bunch of nerds.
Not even nerds are the things I'm a nerd about.
Speaking of horse, my voice is killing me.
These are all male dog in a horse. What's 1/5 of a horse? So not 1/5, 1/2 of a horse. My bad.
Okay. So
I am kind of confused by the combination of minion and ton of golds.
well, in theory, with a bunch of scepters, you can play those money and minions, but these decks do not seem to be built to do that.
Yeah, I would like to point out that scepters did not been
That still just made me. I can't believe that you bought 2 skulls. I'm like still traumatized. Sorry, not.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they bought the skulks. I mean, I know why, which is that they wanted gold. But they also had 8. They could have just bought an Enclave if they really wanted gold.
That honestly sounds a lot better to me. I mean, not that I want Enclave, but I would take Enclave over 2 Skulks.
For sure. And yeah, like Kaplan said, after watching a traveling fair, counting house demolishment, we need to be reminded this is indeed F League.
Sirusc here is chugging along, as it looks like.
I like their deck better right now for what it's worth.
I mean, yeah, he's greening at like crazy rates.
I'm not sure I'd call buying a province every turn crazy, but
Crazy.
They did pick up the captains earlier, which was nice, and they still have more of them.
okay, so I do not like this order at all. I would have muled all 3 of those cards and then minions.
That does sound better to me, yeah. I think they might be overvaluing the effect of the Skulk attack quite substantially.
Skulk's attack is very marginal unless you have enough deck control to play a ton of them every turn. Skulk does 2 valuable things. 1, gives you a free gold. 2, it says plus buy on it. Now, you don't particularly need it here because you have like Wine Merchant, but in general, plus buy is a very valuable thing.
Yeah, that is true.
The attack is very marginal on Skulk. Gives you a 4 cost thing to trash for benefit, and it gives you a 6 cost thing to trash for benefit. Yes, Kaplan, I know.
Yeah, I agree with Complain that one of Skulk's best cases is where you just want expensive things and don't really care about what they are. Skulk is a really cheap way to get lots of, if not good, at least expensive cards in your deck very cheaply.
Yep.
So trash for benefit like Bishop or Recruiter or Apprentice like Skulk. Or even, maybe not trash for benefit, but like if you had a bunch of liveries in play, then buying Skulk is just a good way to get a lot of horses. Scenarios like that are like Skulk's ideal cases, where the quality of the card matters a lot less than the cost.
This is going to be a rude question, but Captain has a promo card, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And the reason we were talking about RTT was that the player RTT won a German tournament and got the prize of being depicted on the art.
Ah, okay. Now I get it. All right, now I understand. Now I'm clued in on thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And RTT was willing to teach me a decent amount when I was getting started, which was really cool. Before this J Nails guy was particularly good.
Fun fact: that's actually RTT's standard attire. He captains the medieval vessel.
Really, he
His occupation.
I wish I could dress like that.
You could.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing's stopping you.
Yeah.
Something is stopping me. I'm too scared to do so. I'm afflicted by the hex fear of abuse of passion.
They're going to think twice about buying gold. Just think about it 0 times.
Where do you even get clothes like Captain has? Like, where do you even buy that?
Nautical store.
Oh yeah.
So then yourself.
Siri, where can I buy Captain? Computer. Immediately ship Captain's photo to me.
See, the most annoying thing about games with hexes and boons is when you're recording them, you have to keep clicking on them so that the thing doesn't just stay up forever.
This is true.
I like the kitty cat and the bad call. That is bad.
So yeah, this looks like this game's unlocked for Sir USC.
Yeah.
There's only 2 provinces left and more than a 12-point deficit, which would make it real hard for Magyi to come back here.
The thing that they're just. Well, actually, no, never mind. I'm stupid. He wanted to buy other cards. I was gonna say use Encore. Don't listen to me.
I mean, as Magyi, honestly, even province there would not be unreasonable. just because, like, if your opponent gets one more province, you're guaranteed to lose the game anyway. Your only hope is to somehow get like both provinces and some duchies before they score like anything. So if you're gonna play one and not resign, I would think, I mean, just buying one of the provinces you're gonna have to gain eventually is fine.
Yeah, it's not a good position. Um, let's see, how many wine merchants? He has 3 trapped on the mat. Okay, but we see resign.
3-0. Impressive work here for Sirusc. That's
So
better than
yeah,
my team.
Cyrus needs 4.5 wins to promote. So they are on track.
Jeez. Oh.
So Hermit Bargain and Hermit Ball look really nice. This might be one of those boards where you don't buy a lot of cards.
Indeed.
Um,
Finally opening.
I think I opened Double Hermit.
Double Hermit sounds not bad. The other thing that jumps out to me would be Hermit Bargain for a Century.
That also seems quite good. But Magyi has 2-5.
2-5 seems.
I
I mean,
assume it's
actually,
just Border
I
Guard.
wasn't expecting Mad to Hermit, but like
It's
Century seems
probably
pretty
just
good.
Border Guard Sentry.
I would think Border Guard Century. Border
You,
Guard all for 2 Hermits would
yeah,
also
you
be
could do
good.
Border Guard Ball for 2 Hermits.
Please go for the. No, never mind.
Yeah, Bargain Sentry sounds quite good.
Treasure map meme is dead.
I didn't even notice Treasure Map was on this board until everyone started talking about it.
I guess it's like cash, where it's just forget the cards.
I mean, I think part of getting good at the game is developing a bit of a filter and having your brain say, these are the cards you need to look at for this kingdom.
I do not have that filter. I just look, ooh, fun card, and then I click it, and then I lose ranking on the ladder.
Let's see, is T-Map good here? You can get deck control, sure. Displace is good with golds, sure. There's no village other than Madman.
I could see a
So,
scenario where you get team maps here. One benefit of them is you can ball for them, which makes it easier to put 2 in your deck at the same time when you're still not really hitting big price points. I honestly, I don't even want 4 golds here. Like, I'd be happy to take like 2 golds off the treasure map instead of 4 if that was an option.
yeah, because you're going to be playing Displace Slingshot with a gold for a while. Slingshot? Yo-Yo? Wait, they got Treasure Map, but only
Dude,
one.
the slingshot analogy isn't making sense.
Doing it. He's doing it. The meme is happening, guys. Everybody stay calm.
Alright, you wanted your meme game. Here you go.
Yeah, this is
Buying,
your
just
fault.
straight up buying treasure maps with no deck control.
I'm so
Um,
happy.
Yeah, this is just way too early for treasure map. Like, here's a scenario where treasure map would make sense. If you get thin fast with like Sentry and or Hermit, probably both. And now you've got a thin deck with like 5 money left in depth. Then you ball for 2 maps and then pop those for golds next turn, and then you're in a good position. I don't want to do it before deck control
Right,
though.
so here, they're gonna get the golds, but they have no deck control to actually be able to use them. So,
Hermit's
like,
at 10 is kind of sad.
Okay, if one more meme was made, I'll be the happiest man in there in the world. Please, with all those gold, buy Masterpiece and then put 9 silvers into your Discord.
I absolutely do not want silvers in my deck.
Do it, because this is already a meme fest.
I think you might be stretching the idea of a meme a bit. It's just a player buying treasure maps. It's not a new Disney movie.
So I think the problem with this strategy is like, I'm not sure how much you really are looking for fast provinces. I'd be thinking about groundskeeper pretty handily here.
Yeah, I want a stack of groundskeepers that I can activate twice per turn by displacing something into a green card and then buying a province. Okay, but we're just buying provinces. I mean, what else are you going to do with 4 golds?
I mean, Magi's already crossed. Their deck is never coming under control after the early team maps. So I can't even say like from this position Province 5 was wrong. I wouldn't have put myself in this position where I'm buying Province, but now that you're here,
Stop. I was just joking about Magic.
So we know what kind of deck Magi is building. What kind of deck is Cyrus building here?
got to find out shortly.
Yeah, I mean, the masterpiece goes well with just playing money, I guess. That horse trader seems questionable.
Let's just talk for a second about how good Hermit is. So firstly, just in general, Hermit is such a good card. What, like top 15 cards in the game?
Something
Somewhere
like
around
that.
it's so good. I mean, it trashes your states, which is nice. It gains more hermits, or here border guards are also wonderful to gain, which is nice. But also getting to trash it for a madman, which is an excellent way to um, massively increase your early game tempo. And here, there's even some nice synergies that you already pointed out, which is the condition for getting madman is you did not buy any cards, but bargain and ball are both not cards. And so you could be gaining Madmen while on the same turn buying Bargain and Ball. It's a really good way to keep activating your Hermits while still getting to put cards in your deck.
Yeah, so I did just check. Hermit's ranked 22nd.
That seems a little bit low to me. What's above it?
I don't know, I just did stats for it.
Oh, okay.
Um, it is certainly a very strong card. And on boards like this, there's a very compelling reason to never buy a card until you've emptied the Hermit pile and are out of Madmen.
Well, you get a pass for buying a Hermit on the 3/4. On the 5/2, you could just ball for it and then never buy cards.
I mean,
It's lovely living in a weird, bizarre world where treasure maps can be bought for hermits and border guard piles out.
Bridge
Although I
Troll,
have no
Sentry, Hermit, Scrying Pool, Captain. Yeah, those all seem roughly similar in power level. I was going to
Yeah.
say earlier, Sentry is also a very strong card if we're talking about the strongest card on this board.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think I'm picking Hermit as the best of those cards, and then Captain number 2. Then Bridge Troll Sentry Scrying Pool. Sentry's also a really good card. Like I don't want to undersell Sentry, especially on 5/2. It's like that's also a beautiful open. You get an open Sentry on 5/2. It's a wonderful position to be in.
Especially with like Border Guard as the 2.
Yeah.
Guys,
Okay,
Yeah.
so
is Magyi actually on the treasure map?
I think Magi really
no.
threw away a nice open by opening Displace over Sentry.
Well, to be fair, DZ, Card Glico was something we were all doing before I think we realized how good Groom was. Whose
Yeah,
idea
the
was
cards that
Groom?
are worth in that are all the Menagerie cards because people weren't really familiar with them yet.
We thought Wayfarer was like super strong.
I remember never believing that. Everyone was like, Wayfarer is the best card in
I know
Menagerie.
Wayfarer is really strong, Kaplan, but like it's
Wayfarer is
not as
pretty.
strong as Card Glico has it, where it's higher than like Groom and Stockpile.
People were just like going crazy over Wayfarer. I did not see it. Just Smithy.
So Smithy with a good money backup plan. But Wayfarer money is pretty sad to play. I've played it before. It's not good.
It needs support. If you have something else that can set up Wayfarer money,
Lucky
like
Coin.
ouch, yeah. Then
Lucky
all Wayfarer money gets really strong.
Lucky Coin Wayfarer is a very potent form of money. So is Delve Wayfarer. Traveling Fair Wayfarer.
That also sounds strong.
All of these are definite money decks to watch out for because they can do some unexpectedly strong stuff. I still think Cyrus is going to win this game. They have groundskeepers to make back points, and they have deck control. But it's certainly not out of the question for Magi to win.
Oh no, he gained it.
Yep, they gained a gold. It's okay. Gold's a good card here. We have displace. Look at all those groundskeepers.
Actually, guarding it there.
Really, DZ? I think displace is
I
stronger than replace.
think the close call is displace versus butcher. Butcher probably wins that, but I think it's closer between butcher and displace than the jump from displace to replace.
I'd agree with that. I'm not sure what is going on here in terms of why you want to discard one of these border guards. You're going to draw one with groundskeeper, and then you should be able to draw the rest of your deck.
Ooh, tough decision. Do you go for border guard or border guard?
The question is, do you discard either one of them? Wait, what? What? The what?
He top deck. Sorry, they top deck 2 border guards.
Okay.
Legendary.
That was not what I expected, but I kind of like it.
I think Magi's in the lead here. Their deck seems to have come online fast enough. I'm probably going to be able to drain provinces before groundskeeper. I'm not exactly what happened with Sir USC's deck. Like, I like the direction they're going, but it feels like they've gotten there very slowly.
The disadvantage that Sir USC had is that he didn't get a treasure map.
Oh yeah, I mean, lack of permits is obviously a pretty big issue with that deck.
Yeah, but neither of them took hermits. That's not what lost them the game.
Hermit pile is still protecting us.
Mm-hmm.
As if, there wasn't anything to torture the high level Dominion players amongst us.
Yep, Herma's a 10 with 2 amazing events for that. Is pretty sad to see.
I mean, I don't want to count them out yet. They still seem to be in a position where they could win this.
I've learned to never count out groundskeeper decks. They're capable of doing some crazy stuff.
Absolutely. Groundskeeper can, utterly, just go crazy. Go stupid, even.
What are we doing here?
Sentry to groundskeeper.
This is Sentry 2, Groundskeeper.
Yeah, I would want to be playing a Madman every single turn here.
Yep.
It's like every turn, play a Madman, play your Hermit, play a Displace, and then ball or bargain for something. The only sad part is when Hermit's run out. And if my opponent's going to let me take all 10 of them, that would just be wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I think any deck here that gets to play with 10 hermits is winning, even if it doesn't do much. I mean, you could probably play like Hermit Money and win here against these decks.
Not sure about that previous move here, grabbing the last Groundskeeper.
Groundskeepers don't really work for Magi's deck. They need their win conditions to drain the provinces fast.
Yeah, which there's been a number of opportunities to do that. But granted, here's the thing, I'm a bad player, so don't take anything I say, but dare I say they had some opportunities to drain the province a lot faster.
So here I think you displace this copper to an estate, and then I don't know after that. Bargain for something?
That's a good question.
cards.
Display silver into duchy and buy hermit.
I mean, yeah, but I'm assuming they won't get a hermit.
I would stop. I think it's long gone at this point.
I don't want another sentry. I'd rather have a lab. Oh, they had
I
two
would-
sentries in exile. Okay, that makes sense.
Main purpose was just to have sentries as like generic displaced target.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Complain. That card just sounds like it'll be too strong.
Can it also like possibly be a village and draw?
Now we're just getting crazy here. That card need to cost like at least 8.
Probably like 16. The other thing is, for the engine, when they're playing with Madmen, you can actually pull off a decent mega turn by playing a bunch of displaces, possibly horse traders for buy. You get the ability to play with multiple terminals. You can really make those groundskeepers print VP.
Yeah, that's something I was actually thinking about a second ago. Was if I get unmirrored access to the Madmen, I do wonder whether I want to build up to like multiple Madman turns. Because the downside is just that the hermits will run out. I don't want my hermits to run out.
Oh, there's a lot of spinning. Let's see if it
I would
is.
have to give GK for the engine in the non-mirror, which is what we're seeing here. I think if you're both playing the engine, then greening for provinces would seem fine.
Right, now the real endgame begins here. Because now, I guess, Magyi has to turn up the heat. Or Sirusc can just go stupid.
So Sirusc probably has 3 turns left, if I had to guess. Can they score? Let's see.
So they
They
could.
need 51 points. That's give or take.
If they could ever get to 5, they can ball for 2 estates.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree that Sirusc is in a good position here. I'm confused by the silver buy.
They want economy.
That makes sense. I can see the silver.
Alright, now's your chance, Magyi. Turn up the heat.
Well, they're going to get a nice displays here with some extra groundskeeper points.
For certain.
Yeah, so here we're definitely turning golden province.
But I still think Cyrus's position is very much one.
Come on, do it.
Yes, like this is the consequence of the early treasure map idea. Is they did it. I could totally see treasure map coming up in like the right situation. If you were already really thin, happen to have 5 money, then maybe you scale up with treasure maps and the golds. But if you do it too early, you're adding 4 stop cards to the top of your deck, and then you're just sacrificing. Like even getting the treasure maps to collide the first time you see them is not even like a good thing. Just adding 4 golds to that deck before you have deck control is just like you've already sacrificed any chance of ever building a confident engine, and then they eventually run circles around you. Like we saw here, like Sirusc, I thought was kind of slow to build, but it looks like they're still going to be able to get there in the end. I think this could have happened like 3 or 4 turns faster.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been crushing.
Yeah, that's the price of funny Dominion names instead. Not very cool. maybe Magyi can outrun him. So we'll see. Maybe.
It's never too late for the hermit.
But I do not think it is very low.
Did I say a couple? I thought I said 4 turns faster.
I don't think you want to play that border guard. You had a sentry and border guard on top. You just want to leave him.
That sounds correct to me.
Look at all that VP.
Duchy in the States.
Ball for 2 states. Okay, they just take another duchy. That is also winning. Unless Magyi just doubles here somehow. Okay, not a double.
Bust. Yep. Such is the price of playing medieval poker. You bust sometimes.
I don't know, who knows? Maybe Magyi draws 4 golds in a place here. It's not looking good. So here we're still 1 game short of the win for Sirusc.
I can imagine how much of a nightmare this would be to track on paper.
So they got to draw in here. They've got 1 more Grabskeeper down there. Taking.
Yeah, gotta take border guard.
Yeah, what's the other card that's in the bottom? I forget now.
I think another border guard.
An estate.
Estate.
So they might miss 5 here. They got a 50 shot. Not that that's a huge deal, but they did. Top decking silver. See, yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, I guess if Mr. Donald X could do it while playtesting, I guess it is manageable.
Look, I've done some really complicated games on paper before. It is possible, surely. And with good enough tracking, sometimes you need pads of paper, systems involving tilted cards, blah, blah, blah. It's all doable. It's just odious. Okay, I guess, yeah, there's nothing better for Magyi than a Hail Mary province at this point.
42 VP chips. Remind me, how many VP chips come in a box of prosperity?
I don't know. Although the game is not technically limited. If you run out of physical chips, you just keep track to get any other means.
My friends and I always kept track of tokens like coffers, villagers, and VP chips on paper because we didn't like trying to assign tokens. It was just easier to give everyone a little piece of paper and tell them to keep track.
I love the tokens though. Like the build quality on them is actually superb. Especially the coffers. I wish, like, if I ever start a country, that's going to be the currency that we use. Those little coffer tokens. Until Donald X sues us in international court, and then I go bankrupt, of course.
Well, I think bigger is the problem that anyone can just buy a Dominion set to get access to your country's currency.
It would be made out of like a different metal, right?
Magyi can come surprisingly close to winning. They can't win. Oh wait, they have groundskeeper.
Oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh.
So that's an extra 2 VP. So they get Prov Duchy, that's 9, plus 2, that's 11 points. It's a losing tie.
No, it would be a winning tie because it's decided by money, right?
No,
Am I having a Mandela effect moment?
Yes.
that's not how ties work. In a tie, player 2 wins.
Wait, if you tie on player 1's turn.
Yes. Sorry, that was poorly explained. Only player 2 can tie. If player 1 ties, it goes to player 2. But yeah, you can
I remember playing on paper
you can ball for estates, which gets you the same amount of points.
because like I remember on paper, like I had this issue with it. I said like, the tie, and it's like, okay, how do we decide who wins? I think I don't know. I think we looked in the rule book and it said that.
You didn't.
I swear I did.
You might have looked at the wrong rulebook. You checked it with the Dominion rulebook.
No, I swear to God, it exists. I'm not swearing at you guys. It has to.
I am as confident can be about the way ties work with Dominion. It is, in fact, the way that Gilhart described it. Yeah, I mean, I remember that mistake when I was trying to figure out what happened when I went bankrupt in Dominion, and I checked the Monopoly rulebook.
Stop making fun. Guys, like I genuinely, like seriously.
Look, I believe that you believe it, but that doesn't make it true.
There's no. I gotta find a PDF of this shit because like again, this is like again Mandela effect.
If you want to find the PDFs to every one of the Dominion rulebooks are available on the DominionLeague.org wiki. Not a wiki. The Dominion League.org page.
Website page.
Where is it?
Yeah, DZ just posted the official thing. All right. So is that 4 or 5 wins for Cyrus now? That's 4, right?
It is some number of wins for Cyrus.
Let me do a quick match.
See, I remember the rejoice and the shared victory clause. I don't remember the returns. Well, yeah, I guess you learned something new every day.
Oh my. Hello there.
It is in fact 4-0. So if Cyrus wins or ties this game, they promote.
So this kingdom looks wild.
Yep. We have Villa and Cav. Both of the time warp cards are in the kingdom. I don't know what else to like. What do we call them? Cards that make you go into a different phase.
That's a good question. I don't have a word for that.
I've been calling them in my head time warp cards. Maybe like phase warp. Phasers. I don't know.
The time travelers.
Anyway, yeah, this board is quite explosive.
Which looks insane.
I feel like it piles really quickly and you score just off arch.
Yes, that sounds good. Cavalry looks especially good for reduced industrials cost because horses.
Mm-hmm. Does carriage see any play?
Could. I'm not sure.
Mastermind looks very important, as often does.
This looks like a tricky one to play well.
Yeah. There's some cool carriage tricks here, but Mastermind looks like the better 5 to me.
How do we open here?
Are we all gonna... Is Cavalry just a villa?
Call them all cavalries.
I mean, knowing the previous games and how it's gone, it's probably they're gonna do something absurd like buy pawn.
By what?
Buy pawn.
Pawn's okay card.
Yeah, but like it's not the obvious like explosive cards.
So
Well,
Sir USC goes for Pageant.
I think here I'm opening Cavalry and then seeing what I draw.
Pageant Cavalry could be a thing.
Yeah, on 3-4 that looks really good.
So USC just goes for the Temple. and gets punished for it immediately with his draw. I I don't dislike the temple, to be honest.
I mean, we definitely need to trash somehow.
Winning is good. I worry that it's a little bit low tempo for a board this strong, but it is not unreasonable. Yeah, I think Pageant Pawn could sound fine for the 4-3 opening. So maybe Pageant Cavalry versus Pageant Pawn, like
What?
that.
Okay, why are we buying a villa?
I don't understand what that villain did. Seems to be
Added a stop card to our deck?
I'll be right back real quick. I'm gonna get a jump on calls.
Yep.
Villa and Cavalry are not the sort of cards that you just like click it because it's there and it's good. It's all about when to click it and how to click it, and where on the card to click it.
Where in your phase you want to click it?
Yeah, I agree with DZ that like in this scenario, it kind of felt like buying a copper. Villa is gonna become one of the best cards in this game, but at the moment it's doing perhaps worse than nothing for you.
Yep.
It looks to me like Magyi just bought a temple for 2 to 3 points, which is not good.
Again, on powerful kingdoms like
Oh,
this.
no, sorry, I'm sorry, I forgot that. They don't have a temple. They probably just bought the temple to have a temple.
Yeah.
Um,
But in general, on powerful kingdoms, the VP you get from Temple just does not matter.
so here is Sirusc. Maybe just buy nothing. I think it was between nothing and pawn there, probably. Pawn's not bad because Trample Arch is around.
Yeah, what I missed.
Not a whole lot.
I see Sir USC has 4 offers. That's payback.
So given that Magyi already has 2 pillars, I mean, you could probably consider buying cavalry here. Not that having a villa and a cavalry in your deck is a very strong combo. It's basically just like a peddler, but it undoes the damage done by the villas.
Yeah.
Go for it. Do they have? Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Oh, good point, Catman. Guess that just shows how terrible I am at this game.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I want to be getting to the point where I'm masterminding both horses and calves so that I'm just making destriers dirt cheap and drawing a ton of cards.
I really like free rabbit.
So a destrier is like a war horse, right? Is that why they don't run away? Regular horses run away after you use them, but these are like trained horses. Is that the idea?
I think so. I'm not too sure. Let me look it up.
Destriers are joggers.
Yeah, it's a medieval knight's war horse. So that's a horse that's supposed to carry like a man with super armor.
It looks like the horse is wearing a suit of armor.
Ooh, it needs to carry its own.
Definitely a chunk.
I mean, is it? I don't know if that's metal or no. That's definitely metal. I thought it was leather at first.
Sorry, I stepped away for a second, but I'm back now.
We're talking about what destriers are.
Destriers are laboratories.
Yes, but they're also horses with armor, and that's why they don't run away.
You don't know how to ride and practicing with dogs. Funny story. I used to know a kid, right? Who like his family was super rich, and they had like this Tibetan, and I think he was when he was young enough, he was able to ride the dog on the horse.
Oh yeah, Tibetan Mastiffs are huge. Those are like 150 plus pound dogs.
Yeah, big boys.
Real big ones.
Like here's the thing. I come from like sort of the rural areas of the United States, right? And when I thought of like when I saw this giant dog when I was like 11 or something, I was like, dang, that's cool. That's cool. I want to run over that.
Yeah,
That sounds like a dog that could go toe to toe with a pig.
I remember growing up going over to someone's house. They had a greyhound, and I was sort of getting out of the car, and like I rolled down my window, and the dog was just like looking me like right in the eye. It's like, wow, that's a big dog. He's just up to the window on the car.
I have cats though, and dogs. The famed pig boys.
So I see a lot of spinning going on so far, but not very much winning. The strong cards have not really been taken. Masterminds at 10, Destriers at 10, Cavs at 9.
We're getting there.
Question is, when will all the crazy stuff start happening?
I think it can take a second. Like this team doesn't look the fastest one to scale up, but I think it can go from 0 to 100 real fast. When were the chariot races games? I don't think I like any of the chariot race games. I'd have to go back and look at exactly when they happened, but I don't think that card's important enough to me. Like if I had 4, I would buy probably cavalry, and if I had 3, I'd consider just buying pawn to save the copper. Yeah, like if we're gonna be clicking on cavalries and villas early, I feel like cavalry is a much better card to click on.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather put the draw card into my deck first, and then if the draw card collides with another card in its terminal, I can buy the villa then.
Imagine the set about capitalism.
Wait, what about capitalism?
This kingdom with capitalism.
It doesn't change any of the cards I want to be playing. The cards I'm interested in are Villa, Mastermind, Destrier, and Cav, mostly.
And here's just I don't know. I'm stupid.
Yeah, I mean, capitalism here mostly buff farmers market. So
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if a buff farmers market would be particularly worth it here. Or mostly clicking on a $5 cost first just to buff my farmers market is not worth it. There's some pretty good 5s here.
Yeah, it does buff pawn.
I don't think the buff to pawn is all that substantial because it means you have to play the pawn at the end of your or after your action phase. The pawn becomes worse.
That is true. We do have delicious burritos. I didn't think of that.
Alright, so it looks like we're going to get a bunch of Destriers here. Or by a bunch, I mean 2.
Hey, something.
There we go. Here we go.
That's an interesting pick, DZ.
By 19, I had most definitely eaten both of those things.
I've never eaten a hamburger and then
TZ, what country are you from? Or do you live in currently?
Burritos are indeed pretty good.
I love burritos. Like, I'd be lost without Mexican food.
actually never gone to a hamburger. Just never had any of those.
This is a nice draw off, Cav.
I can see how one would think that about hot dogs. Burritos, on the other hand, are just good.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're... Why are we buying a villa to start this turn? That's confusing, but okay.
I think they actually bought a cab.
Oh, they did. Okay, I like that a little more, I guess.
Can they
Yeah.
keep the momentum going? And the answer is no.
Well, yes, they're just gonna buy another Cav.
The momentum continues.
This turn's looking pretty good to me.
Yep, they're starting to...
These decks pick off.
I think on the scale of spinning and winning, we're starting to tilt more towards the W.
Oh, Beyblade, let it rip.
Yeah, tacos are great. Much like burritos.
Mexican food in general is just a delicious cuisine that you should absolutely try.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm surprised that you at least lived for a while in America and managed to avoid Mexican food. It's everywhere. Case in point, I had Mexican food for dinner last night.
Yeah, get those horses.
Get them. I always found it funny that Death has the same action text as I,
Yep.
which makes, I don't know, there's something about that that's just, fun to look at. And of course with the, lab grown or experiments or something.
All right. So, Magyi seems behind, although I haven't followed closely enough to say exactly where. Probably those early villas, I think, were a decent part of it. Especially in the opening. The villa in the opening just seems pretty bad.
Now it's time for Cyrus to get some villas.
Go simple.
Yeah. As Sirusc, I'm buying Villa first. And then contemplating buying Cavalry as well. I don't know exactly what cards are down there, but you probably want to draw two. Action coin, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I can relate to that, DC. Like, whenever I tell people I've never eaten a hamburger in my life, they get violent.
You've never eaten a hamburger?
Never ever.
Why?
Just not that interested in beef. I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm just a big fan of chicken.
Fascinating.
What about veggie burgers? Nope. Never had one of those either. I just live and subsist off of chicken.
Hey
that
man,
also,
chicken's really good.
Wait, make your card delicious.
I mean, I guess the Impossible Burgers aren't going to appeal to you anymore if your objection was, I don't like beef, because they're meant to taste like beef.
I actually just got my first Impossible Burger like last night. I hadn't been to a Burger King in like straight up 5 years, but I was driving past one and we decided like, hey, let's try an Impossible Burger.
Is that the one with the metric ton of estrogen in it that was memed about on Twitter?
I seriously doubt it has estrogen in it, but it probably has a lot of soy in it, which does have stuff that is sort of like hormones.
That's
It's similar to the Beyond. I don't know
Yeah,
the exact.
yeah,
It doesn't-
Kaplan. It's Burger King's non-meat burger.
yeah.
All right, so Cyrus is drawing deck. Having 8 labs will do that. Yeah, what Kaplan said.
I ate an Impossible Whopper. I turned into them.
It's okay if you eat enough MSG, it counters the estrogen.
Not that I'd be opposed to, eating soy or estrogen.
God, I love soy.
Oh, soy's delicious.
All right, what are we doing here? This is a decent place to think. Do we know what the bottom cards are?
Who has the masterminds?
I think they're probably just source and contacts.
Does Magyi have both masterminds?
And he has an exile.
Oh, they're exiled.
I think this play might have been incorrect. The problem is, I don't know how far back they're undoing.
Sundew looks a little sus.
Well, they knew the bottom cards were forces, so it's not the most sus thing.
Okay, that's fair.
The thing I don't like about this is, like, when you're ready to end your turn, gaining a bunch of forces and then drawing one card and top deck a bunch of forces seems good. I don't want to bring my turn to an end yet. I would like to, if I could, for example, gain and play a mastermind right now. I'd be counting out whether I can do that. But if I'm doing that, I'm not putting 4 horses in my discard before doing that. Sirusc's ambitions here seem a little bit too modest to me.
Okay, well they did just manage to seed their deck with horses. That is something.
Certainly, you see your deck with horses either way. I would just gain and play a mastermind.
I know, I'm just trying to give them credit for doing something good. Seeding horses is a bit of an advanced concept. You don't often see it at F. Yeah, man, we gotta grow them.
I have a doctorate in Dominion Horseonomics.
So here now, I guess we're buying one more villa, probably. In which case, only one of the pawns needs to be played non-terminally. Magyi does not have gestures, hence the 10-0.
Yeah, that seems like a good place for a think.
I definitely agree with that. This game is one lock for Sir UFC.
I just want to see how crazy you can make this game. What's a stupid amount of cards in this deck? So I can
The problem, of course, with this kingdom is it's just going to pile out before we see the kingdoms fully scale up. because of Cavalry, Villa, Gesture, and Triumphal Arch.
It doesn't really have payload. Yeah, we don't have a good time, am I right, fellas?
Camel Train is kind of payload.
Chariot race is kind of payload.
I don't believe in the chariot races.
I don't believe it.
I'm not a big fan of the card, but I don't know. It doesn't seem worth doing here. I just want to pile out stuff and have about 1 billion horses.
What are we buying here as Sirusc? They're taking more buys, which is interesting.
If only there were 2 piles of horses so that you could get like 30 horses and 30 super horses and then get triumph points for that.
Three farmers markets.
Not sure where that came from, but okay.
Look at this. It's like they just picked Stampede.
So they actually did go 10-0 in farmers markets. Oh yeah, gotta get those temple points.
Here we go. Do the Stampede.
It's funny to see their score tick down every time they play a horse.
Here comes the horse. Here comes the horses.
Alright, so can we win here now?
Keep in mind their score's gonna go back up to 30 something once they pump out horses again.
I don't think there's gonna be a win. All right.
A lot of gain and play potential here.
A ton of cards. Jesus.
So I would think that we're aiming for obviously villas would pile if we're going for pile out, and then the second pile could be pawns, farmers markets, or maybe curses. Actually, what about the curse pile? What about villa curse? You would need 10 buys for the curses. Your score is going to get to 30. And then you subtract 10 for the curse. Yeah, this is like an easy win. There's probably a bunch of wins here. Villa curse seems like the one that most immediately jumps out to me. Just play all your pawns for plus buy, and then buy a province, and then 4 villas and 10 curses.
Sounds good.
Seems valid to me, but will they see it? Will they have the insight?
So Villa Pawn requires 24 money and 6 buys. They've got the buys for that, and they're looking at 8. Who is it? Villa Pawn should work as well. Yeah, you just need to buy a few coppers, and then you can pilot villas and pawns. So they see a win. We'll figure out which one they see. What? Do they see a win? Well, the curse win is still here. So maybe that's what they're going for. If they wanted to pile out pawns, they needed to buy some coppers first.
I think they're going for curses.
Nice. I think that's the more stylish too.
Now watch this VP go up. Yeah, you want to do coin buy there.
Well, it doesn't make any difference if you're doing the curse pile out.
This is true.
The undo suggests that they're going for the pawns, I guess. But they didn't need to. 11 was enough to do 10 curses and products. And
This
then you would
also
still
wins.
punch
So,
points.
whatever. Winning is winning.
Here it is. Good game. Well played, sir, USC.
Alright, so Cyrus promotes to E Division next season. Congratulations to Cyrus. And now they have a victory lap game. So let's see if Magyi can take one.
I want Magyi to disgrace Sir USC.
Yep, it's 5-0 right now.
Come on. Disgrace. Wow, this does not look interesting whatsoever.
No, there's some stuff going on here. Wow, okay, there really isn't that much stuff going on here.
Actually, never mind. I see something interesting going on, but let's see if they all notice.
You could build the Band of Misfits golden deck. Gold, silver, Band of Misfits products.
Yeah, I can't find out. Harvest Patron. Oh, combo!
I don't think the golden programming is actually any good here just because copper trashing is too difficult.
Yeah. Is this like some kind of Explorer Harvest money?
I think I'm opening Scrap Patron for sure.
That looks good.
And then
I think Masterpiece.
I don't think I'm touching Masterpiece here.
I'd touch Masterpiece because it's fun.
I don't think I want Masterpiece.
I also think I want Harvest Cat one.
Yep, they're doing it. Let's see if we can, get the
Stonemason for CSMs. I mean, it gets you Labyrinth points, but
Candlestick. What?
Get your Labyrinth points off of your Scrap plays.
yeah. Now we have a sad scrap. Don't buy copper. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Sephiroth somehow does not like Scrap, which is just bad faith.
Yeah, I don't really get what all the scrap hate is for. It's a pretty flexible card. I mean, Harvest can reveal Patron.
Yeah, it's like I really
The thing is, like, even if you get the coffers from it, it's not particularly amazing. You're not printing coffers like you do with, like, Menagerie or Hunting Party. Like, if Harvest found 4 patrons, that only is 1 more money than Harvest just finding 4 different cards.
Yeah, after the first patron, any additional patrons Harvest finds are actually like not helping. I mean, they're helping slightly because coffers are a little bit better than coins, but very little.
I still think I do play with Harvest here. It looks like the best payload. And I'm always excited to have a board where Harvest is actually something to consider.
Alright, Magyi likes Harvest. Let's see it happen.
Harvest and a band, interesting.
I don't dislike the band. If you're adding that many stonemasons, I think having a difficult scrap is pretty fine.
Yeah, I
Plus,
mean, band could be patron, island, scrap here. That all sounds really good. What I really don't like is the CSMs. Wait, what? We're not scrapping the copper?
It seems like Magyi was trying to rush the Labyrinth points, and those didn't seem significant to me.
Okay, can't say I super agree with that.
The Animus Fit seems fine to me. I mean, everything's unimpressive in this kingdom.
Well, you want to play Band of Misfits, Captain?
Band of Misfits could be Scrap or Patron in the early game, and then I don't know. Actually,
I don't
playing as
know. I
Island.
think band is fine here. I like being able to play island. Exiling cards is great. And patron is great. I want villagers.
Interested? Something about that province seemed a little too early. I could be wrong, though.
The biggest argument against it is that you were right about to trigger a shuffle, and so you could have put 2 5s into the shuffle via Scrap, rather than putting a province into it. I think now that you've triggered this shuffle, greening like turn 9 onwards would be reasonable if you had built for one more turn.
Buys a gold. They buy a gold.
I want to complain, but like everything in this kingdom is so terrible. I mean, yeah, I certainly would not buy gold here. I mean, as one tends not to do. Explorer also seems better to me than gold.
I was experimenting with Explorer money recently because we were discussing it, and it's surprisingly bad.
Oh, sure it is, but gold money is just BMU, which is surprisingly worse.
Yo, maybe not surprisingly.
Yeah.
What? Gold is a bad card? That's crazy.
Gold is not very strong.
So I was playing with a weaker player like last night maybe, and they asked me for a tip. So I started off just trying to take the temperature of the room by saying that, well, gold's actually a pretty bad card, and usually people either say like that's stupid, or what do you mean? And they were like, well, what? Why? And then we started talking about it and ended up talking about like the game for a while, and I got them to join the Discord. So
Nice.
sometimes telling your opponents that gold is bad, it works. I'm spreading the gospel.
The real gold we bought was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
That's quite insulting to your friends.
Oh, I'd buy my friends gold and twice myself.
Stone Masoning for 2 islands is kind of a cute way to score one more point than Duchy. It does come at the cost of like 3 stop cards. I'm not sure if it's worth it or not, though.
I don't think it's worth it, but it's cool looking.
Again, the big problem here is, like, if I'm about to trigger that shuffle, as Magi was just about to, I'm much more concerned with what I'm about to put in my deck than if I'm right after triggering a shuffle. If that were turn 13, Stone Masoning for islands, then I think it would be stronger. Because then the islands would be going way down to the bottom, rather than directly into a shuffle I'm about to create.
Let's play a game, everybody. What victory part or landmark would you want to live at in your life?
I really can't tell just from the
Cemetery.
good answer. Like, do I own the thing if I live there?
I've always wanted to like have my own island, so I'm gonna go with that.
I'd live at Humble Castle.
I think I'm going to take the King's Castle.
Humble Castle just seems like a very cozy place to live.
Opulent Castle is the best looking. I just
mean-
like the implication that if I own the King's Castle, I'm presumably the king.
Or it was like an ancient king's castle.
Mm.
I like that too.
So there's a lot with somebody on this planet.
I do not want to live in a haunted castle. I'm going to disagree with that one.
Living in haunted castle, you might as well just live in the cemetery. What about mill? You could like make your own grain. You know, it'd support your job.
So Magi bought a candlestick maker, which I don't think I like. Candlestick maker is basically copper. Now, like the first candlestick maker you add actually has some value because it gives you coffers, and having a few coffers is nice for smoothing out turns. Like if you just got like one or two coffers around, you could turn your $7 turns into $8 turns, and that's a nice effect. But the more coffers you're adding, the quicker it just approaches being equivalent to +1 coin. And candlestick maker for +1 coin is basically just copper. In engines, you often need CSM for the buy, but that's obviously not true here.
I mean, like was mentioned earlier, it's essentially a pouch.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
And pouch is something that's usually you get rid of pouch.
No, you don't usually get rid of pouch. Pouch is pretty good, but you don't load up your deck with pouches.
That's because you can. Okay. What if you could buy pouch?
I mean, that's basically ducats, and people do for no good reason.
Shut up! I love ducat. Ducat is. I love ducat not because it for any value, but because it causes shenanigans.
That ducat rush from the other day was shockingly strong.
Yeah,
No
that
one
was
believed me.
crazy. I thought you were just like being a memer when you posted it. Like Ducket Rush. I was like, alright, whatever weird thing J Nails is like saying sarcastically today. But then it was like, no, this is actually really good.
Yeah, ducat like begets shenanigans, and I love shenanigans in the menu.
So we're doubling down on this Stonemason for Islands play.
Yeah, I am no memer. Everything I say is 100% serious.
For sure. Alright, you can crack this harvest for just sweet 2 islands here.
That kind of sounds nice, yeah. But hitting 8 also sounds nice.
Yeah. Alright, Magi in position to possibly take this game?
I'd love to see a disgrace. Disgrace! Disgrace! Disgrace!
Wait,
Yeah,
what's the disgrace?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Disgracing Cyrus on the last game.
How would that be a disgrace?
Because Cyrus can't go, flawless victory.
Alright.
I don't think I'd be particularly disgraced to win 5-1.
And promote. I think that would be quite an impressive result. Be very happy with that.
Gee, fuck me for trying to be fun. I'm joking. They'll actually come after me.
Okay. So Magi takes an estate. Okay, we are seeing explorers, so is Cyrus gonna risk it?
I think I'm just provincing here. I mean, your opponent has to do province plus estate to beat that.
Yeah.
Which is hard in decks of this quality.
Yeah, agreed. But they elect to double island instead. They won all the games. Alright, Cyrus province is here, and that's very safe.
Okay, this looks like it's about to be a 6-0. It's going to be hard to come back here. Just be a Dudgies.
Part of the cards. Come on.
What do you even do? I guess you scrap a silver and pray.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just buying Duchy. You could consider islanding the scrap. It's probably better than not doing that, because you want the island out of your deck, and the scrap doesn't really need to be in your deck.
Okay, stop here by Duchy.
Don't say that, DZ. Well, Stonemason's not the strongest card ever in this kingdom, because this is like terrible and money-ish. But Stonemason certainly has its times, and is quite strong in a good kingdom. It's a support card. There's nothing here worth supporting.
Okay. Congrats to Cyrus.
Cyrus 6-0. Flawless victory.
Yep.
Fatality.
And so they promoted, and they will be in League E next season.
Yay.
Congrats to them. Well,
Alrighty, see you around.
thanks for commentating with me, fellas, and thanks for listening, everyone. Talk to you later.
Bye.